Our next speaker, Mr. David Heimhofer, chairman of TerraNext Group, has challenged all such limits and continued to achieve new milestones in his professional career. With almost 30 years' experience, Mr. David Heimhofer is an expert in alternative investments and has in-depth knowledge of structured products, hedge fund management, and private equity investments. With wide-ranging experience in the renewable energy sector, particularly in solar energy industry, Mr. Heimhofer has advised institutional investors on numerous direct investments and asset restructuring transactions in different industries in the Middle East and North Africa region. He has held leading position with UBS, Credit Suisse, Richcourt, and Dexia Middle East. May I request our BCICAI ExCom member, CA Uganda, to escort Mr. David Heimhofer to the dais.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, until the technique works, I would like to welcome you here. And you know, when I saw this global economy at Crossroad, when I was invited to this event, I felt immediately I should tell you something. And I was very happy to come here and talk about a trend, a mega trend that is going to change our life and is slowly coming, it's there. Maybe we don't even realize, but definitely we are affected, all of us, and you will see in, let's say, 10, 20 years, the world in a different shape. The driver behind the economy, there are fundamental economical drivers behind the economy. We know that all. But what are the key drivers? What are the key drivers? Further than interest and politics and currency rate, what are the key drivers behind these global economical drivers? What are the key drivers in the global economy? Further to, you know, the books in the economic school. The key drivers are, in particular, the energy. We all consume a lot of energy. And now we'll see if this works as well. So the drivers behind an economy are one of the key drivers is the energy. When we look in the energy, of course, we are living here in a world, plenty of oil, plenty of gas, and I'm a Swiss national. We don't have oil, we don't have gas, we have some mountains and not much more, but energy is really something tremendous important to develop an economy. What we are living in a time now where we have also the global warming, we all know things will change, and in Europe we have started in Germany, for example, to invest in renewable energy investments, solar, wind, 10, 20 years ago, and the first investments were heavily subsidized. And of course, they could only be economical, practical, profitable because the government has put a lot of money in. But now we have the fruits. We will come to that. Just a quick introduction. My name is David Heimhofer. I'm from TerraNext Group. We have in Dubai, Germany, we have in Germany and in Dubai a family office. We consult wealthy German family offices that have invested since 20 years in the solar industry. It was profitable investment, and now they are looking for further investments here in the region. Then we have TerraNext Asset Management Cayman Island. It's pretty much forward an asset management company. And then TerraNext Financial Engineering. TerraNext Financial Engineering is a regulated entity in Switzerland, regulated by the Swiss Financial Authority, and we focus on bringing an investment opportunity bankable. Then we have family of Middle East investment funds, Germany. If you have read the newspapers yesterday, you might have recognized that there were 50 investors. That's for that from that Middle East investment. By the way, who has read that yesterday? Is anybody has seen an article yesterday? Okay. So some have read the articles, yes, that's nice. So we have 50 investors from our German funds coming to Bahrain to and to Oman, to Abu Dhabi. So we bring them regularly here in the region to invest. So we are actually the opposite of a classical private bank that comes to the region to collect assets. We bring money here, we invest here in the region, and we bring the technology, the know-how, the expertise. That's what we are doing. And then we have Terranex Renewable Energy Advisory in Abu Dhabi, just to advise our funds. We are investing in healthcare, we are investing in infrastructure, education, and low housing, green building solutions. But the real megatrend that I would like to talk about is renewable energy sector. Why renewable energy sector? If you see that, if you see this graph, imagine in 25 minutes, the sun sends us enough energy that we use for 1 year. If you, for example, put the most efficient solar energy panels in the desert of the desert Sahara, if you only cover 0.3% of the desert Sahara with the most efficient solar panels, how much do you think power can you produce if you do that? You can produce enough power for the whole power consumption of Europe. Imagine, this is a very powerful figure. 0.3% you cover of that desert, and this produces enough power for the whole consumption in Europe. Or if you cover 4% of the desert, of the Sahara, with the most recent technology of the solar panels, you produce enough energy for the whole consumption of the globe. These are very powerful figures. And to make it nice, if you cover the whole desert of the Sahara with solar panels, you produce in 1 day, in 1 single day, you produce enough power for the whole consumption of this globe. These are very powerful figures, and that's definitely the megatrend going to happen. If you see oil, gas, even nuclear, this is just a fraction of what the sun sends us as power, as energy, and we turn it into power, and we make some business out of it. But where to produce this power? We have invested in Germany. This is the pioneer in the solar energy. Solar power panels in Hamburg, for example, where we have invested in a solar power plant since 18 years. If you put that panel here in Bahrain, you produce 3 times more power because of the radiation, of course. So imagine, you buy a panel from the world market, you put it in Hamburg, or you put it here, you have 3 times more power, 3 times more return, because the price for the panel is exactly the same. So to produce the power where you have the highest radiation, and this is in the sun belt of the globe. When you look at the environment here, you have a tremendous growth in the economy, you have a tremendous growth in the population, and of course you have a tremendous growth in the consumption of power, 8% per year. That's in the GCC, in the MENA region, an average. Some countries grow faster, some less, but fact is, you have a tremendous growth in power consumption here, and if you consume, you have to produce. Otherwise, the light goes off, right? So then you see the countries have moved into strategic targets to produce renewable energy from their total consumption. For example, Morocco, 43% by year 2020. These are targets set by the government, and Algeria and so on. So you see that there is 107 gigawatt set by countries in the MENA region to produce on a renewable energy base. These are very powerful figures, and 18 countries have also attractive promotions for investments, and some of them also see some profitable fiscal benefits. Why is this all? Why does the country set the strategic targets, for example, Morocco? Why is Morocco putting 42% as a renewable energy target and other countries as well? Why? What do you think? Just because they like the sun? Or they are crazy like the Germans 20 years ago, putting solar panels that were not profitable? There is a reason for that. I come to that. Now you look into the investments. In 2009, suddenly the investment started to increase. Why? There is a reason to that. I will come to that. But you see, the investments in that sector went over time pretty much flat, but suddenly they were increasing. Has anybody an idea why suddenly this increases like that? Huh? Wow, I'm very much impressed. We come to that. Exactly. Here you see, we are now 2012. We said earlier on that the countries have set a target of 107 gigawatt, officially set by these governments. This requires investments, pretty strong investments, you will see. This is the target. Now this 107 gigawatt requires investments of 171 billion. If this is not going to be there at crossroad, I don't know, what else I shall tell you. This is changing the world tremendously. But again, why? We come to that. Fact is, if you see now 2012, this is linear and up 2030, for achieving the strategic targets by the governments, what they have set to produce renewable energy in their country. That's the reason. I would like to give you a medal for that. You see, the power price for diesel, 2000 around 15 US dollar cents. Consistently, steady increase over now 2012. Now we are at about 30 cents US dollar. Production costs per kilowatt produced by diesel. Of course, you have other means, you have gas and crude oil, but if you are a bit familiar with the power, you have to produce the peak. And the peak in most of the countries is produced by diesel. At the same time, you see the production costs of photovoltaic coming down from 35 cents US dollar, heavily subsidized in the past, but now we are around 10, 15 US dollar cents. It depends the radiation, the technology, and so on. But there was a crossroad. Now we are there. I call it crossroad, around 2007, and nobody really realized. Now, when we go back to the investments, that's the reason why the investments suddenly picked up. Because to produce power based on solar is cheaper than oil and gas. It's just a fact. I know that the oil industry is not very happy to hear that. I'm fully aware of that, but I tell it again, solar power is cheaper than oil and gas, and it's a fact. Halas. So, if you see that, then this is the crossroad that we are heading to. Further to that, embedded there is the global warming, there are so many factors on top to that. In the past, the renewable energy sector was a kind of doing something green to have a good, to feel well, but it was not profitable. That's what the German did, heavily subsidized. That's what the first investments were here in Abu Dhabi. Master in Qatar, they are building things. These are things not economically driven, not based on economical factors. And we as an investor, private equity manager, would not invest in something that is just a hobby of a sheikh. We invest in investments that are fundamentally driven by the price. And that's now the case. When you go in the future, if you look further, you see, this is a study by ILF, a German consulting company. They predict the oil price still increasing, also the gas price, but solar will remain or even become cheaper, but will remain. First of all, the energy will stay for free for, I hope, another couple of years. The only thing is you have to do an upside an investment to put the plant there, and then you have a cash cow forever. You don't need to invest. Now, we as a private equity investor, we have invested in such plants and such factories, in such investment in companies, and this is just a case study where one of the company, and by the way, this is based in Bahrain, is one of the leading companies in developing the solar power sector. They have 1.7 gigawatt under development in Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Palestine, Morocco, and the UAE. Why I'm saying that? I'm just saying that because when I was seeing your title, I was very much inspired to tell you that this is going to change our life in the future. If you see in Germany, 20 years ago, solar power was something magic. And now if I have so many meetings with people here and government and top-ranked decision makers, and I have to tell you, for a lot of people, solar power is still something voodoo. They don't believe that this is really working, even though this is a solid investment and a solid power generation with free of cost. Now, this company that, if you want to have further information, we have a stand outside, you can collect some information there. The thing is, we invest in the development of this industry. First of all, you need to find people that know this in the government, if you do an application. In this part of the world, when you talk about oil, everybody is a professional since 20 years. If you talk about solar, you hardly find somebody. It's totally different, but this will move, this will shift. That's why we have an integrated approach. We invest in companies that deploy such an integrated approach, covering the whole value chain from A to Z. The first thing that needs to be done to educate people, because otherwise you cannot run this business, and you cannot even put a solar panel there if you don't know how to maintain it. Then another thing is, in that part of the world, you can produce the panels locally. Why you buy it for a discount price somewhere else? Produce it locally. That's why we tend to invest in solar power, in factories producing solar panels. Now you could say, you argue, okay, in Germany, all the solar panel factories just collapsed. Yes, they did. And that's an excellent chance to buy them for 10–20%. For example, Bosch, one of the leading German companies, has 3 solar panel factories with a production of 500 megawatt per year output. They sell it now and one of them is in a country close to Bahrain. They sell it now for 10–20%, the whole factory. So you can take it here and produce at the same low price solar panel for discount prices. You can compete with the very low Chinese prices. But that creates local jobs, that creates local know-how, that creates local education. That's the approach we are heading to. This makes this company unique because there is none such company in the market developing the solar industry from A to Z. For example, in Oman, we have a cooperation with a university to train and educate 10,000 local Omanis for the next years in that sector. So the education is really the first step in that industry. And then if you then also put a factory to produce the components, the local components, you create so much local content, jobs, and know-how transfer that is really very appealing, and this will come anyway. And this is a matter of time, because keep in mind, solar power is cheaper than oil and gas. It's a fact. And I'm still wondering why it has not yet developed so far. But it needs it needs this push of education. Now, to wrap it up, we are an investor. Coming back to our core business, we are a private equity manager. We manage funds. We invest in these kind of tools. This is a typical phase how to invest. For example, phase 1 is an investment where we set up a JV in all the countries what you have seen. For example, in Morocco, in Oman, in Kuwait. We set up a JV. We put all the components together, the power purchase agreement, the land, the license. And this is phase 1. A kind of development. And we have various funds that are invested there. And then, once the power purchase agreement signed, then you move to the next phase. You raise the capital, and you construct it. And to construct such a solar power plant, it goes very fast. Imagine, after the signing of the final contract, 6 months later, you start to produce power. It's pretty simple. You just put the panel there, put the cable there, and it works. It has to be planned properly, but it's not like a nuclear power plant where you can only produce power when the last, nail is thin. It takes 2, 5, 8 years. It goes very fast and very quick. But then, after 1 year, when we have a lot of auditors among you, right? So after 1 year, when we have audited figures, then the return is not based on studies. It's based on a real cash outcome. Then we sell it to the next investors, pension plans, very conservative investors, because the phase 3 is a bond, because it's a cash cow. Nothing can go wrong. You have panels there, and after 1 year audited figures, you know exactly how much you can produce, how much you can sell, and you know your costs. By the way, the costs are about 0.1% of the turnover, pretty much nothing. So after 1 year, then we have heavy German funds, European funds, pension plans, for example. They like this investment very much. And then you have a bond return. We pay then a dividend or a coupon, monthly, quarterly, because you have every month coming money in. You sell power and you don't have costs. It's a very profitable investment. But in the beginning, of course, you rely on study, feasibility study, radiation study, soil study, and so on and so forth. That's why the returns are a bit higher, because you don't know how much you can produce. But after, in the phase 3, you know exactly. And so we are an expert in that field, because we trade such solar power plants in Europe since 10, 15 years. And pension plans like this very much. So this is from the investment side. So I started with the crossroad, the driver behind the global economy. I hope I could open you a new aspect and a new thought behind these drivers, the economical fundamental drivers of the economy, which is the industry. And one of the key factors in the industry is the energy. And in that sector, energy, definitely there will be a change. And I hope I could open you a bit some new thoughts in that direction. And I thank you very much that you are listening so nicely. Thank you very much and have a nice day.